Hey everybody, welcome back to the Tribe of Nerds. Austin, Michael, and I are back for Australian Survivor Redemption Week 3. And this has been a bad week for Team Jake because I ended up losing all 3 people this week, so that was not fun. But I mean, what are your guys' thoughts on this week in general?
I'm thrilled. I'm so glad that you lost all 3. It was getting too annoying. You were steamrolling us. Uh, Also, I think this week was kind of interesting in that a lot of plans, or a lot of really interesting plans came forward, like all the stuff on the Brook tribe. I don't know which one they are on now, but
Yeah.
there's lots of like subterfuge going on there. But with the actual week we got, it ended up being all of the kind of stragglers just being taken out. Like the 3 boots that we get this week were the people that didn't really have a solid place. And
No.
it's like cutting those ties. So it seems like maybe this is a buffer week to what next week is going to be a bit more bombastic.
Yeah, that's what I think too. I mean, because yeah, they really didn't have their footing in the game. None of the 3 boots, as we'll talk about. Austin, your thoughts?
Very fun week, like entertainment wise. I mean, I was like scrambling, walking around the house every time I was watching an episode. I was like, damn, they did this, they did this. Lots of like talking, socialization on like one tribe specifically, because they like Richard, for example. Fun fact: I think he's been to every tribal except 2 or something like that so far.
Yeah, I
Like,
believe
guys
that's
just
correct.
going to town while there's people that have only been to like 2 or 3, I think it is. I'm like, god damn. But yeah, no, overall fun week. The first episode, I'm still torn between what could have been, but yeah, just awesome, like tribals, awesome strategy. Loved this week.
Yeah,
While you mentioned Rich, I just want to do a Tribe of Nerds apology. I want to publicly apologize to Rich. When we did our draft, I was like, I don't want anything to do with Rich. I felt like he was going to be like a Kent player, this CEO who's going to be like, crazy and out there and not a good player. And actually, this week, like I really, really enjoy Rich, and my tag say like unexpected Rich fan. I really, really like him, and I think this week was a solid week for him. So I apologize for my preconceptions.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like out there he's not really coming off as a CEO type. I mean, I think he's talked about his family a little bit there, and I mean, like, I don't know, like it seems like he's just coming off as like a dad with like a corporate job, not really like a CEO type that we've seen. So
He's very calm and like level-headed. I really like that about him.
yeah, yeah. I like Rich as well. Yeah, I mean let's get into it. I mean, I'll definitely have a bone to pick with certain things this week. We kind of mentioned it last week with regarding idols, but we'll get there when we get there, I think. All right, episode 7 kicks off. So we immediately get into the reward challenge, and this is where they have to catch the ball from the chute and shoot the ball into the goal. We've seen this in U.S. Survivor quite a few times, most notably in like San Juan del Sur when John Rocker is getting yelled at. I believe this challenge was there. And so the bounty tribe wins meat pies. I mean, the most interesting part about this challenge is they're going to swap right after the challenge instead of before. So I found that really interesting.
Yeah, that was odd.
Yeah.
You go, Austin.
Yeah, all I was gonna say is, has this like ever happened? Like, I was like really confused.
I don't think so. I mean, I think the closest thing I can remember, just pulling it out of like the archives of my mind, of like, I think Survivor Vanuatu's merge episode is like they had a reward challenge and then they had to merge the same episode afterwards. But I don't think I've ever really seen a swap or merge like happen after a challenge otherwise.
And it's really fascinating because they're competing for something that tribe now doesn't win together as a tribe. It's like, and I did quite like that, how they ended up having to split off. The people that were in the winning tribe still get their reward, but with people who were part of the losing tribe. So that was quite fun. But yeah, I also loved, we did get Brooke, Challenge Beast Brooke, her like crawling through that like rope maze. She was like a lizard, and you see those lizards on the wall and they just like scamper through. She's so good. It was a classic beast mode from Brooke.
Yeah, she's so good at these challenges. I mean, anything involving physicality or endurance. I mean, I think you would pick Brooke a lot of the time to win these. So,
I did enjoy the fact that it was after, just because like they were so noticed that they did not think this was gonna happen. Like after, you could just tell they were all like, "Oh shit!" And then, I mean, some people got hosed with the tribe selection. I mean, what it's
7-2 with Lyndall
Yup.
and Rich, and
Yup.
then 6-3 on the other
Yeah.
side.
I'm like,
with-
damn, that's
Yeah.
some people just got hosed.
Yeah,
And
that's
now,
insane.
now like tribes have got so used to, like, all these players are now so used to the meta of like, we're gonna do this at this time, and so I do like that they try to like subvert their expectations, and no one ever expects a post challenge swap. So anything you can do to mess up the players. One thing I do have, my favorite moment of all 3 episodes this week was Lottie doing that challenge and coming staggering out with all the mud. She's like, my tits are gonna fall out because the mud was like weighing her top down. I was like, oh, that's so funny.
That is funny. That is funny. Yeah, this is also where like Lottie was getting her foot stuck in the mud, or was that a later challenge?
So,
I think it was
Yeah.
it rings a bell.
Yeah, I think it was this one, but yeah, it's really funny. So we get the 2 new tribes. We got Baron 2.0, which is Asha, Ben, Blanche, Brooke, Cameron, Jackson, Lottie, Laz, and Simon. And then Bounty 2.0 is Caleb, Don, Faith, Keely, Lyndall, Mark, Richard, Sally, and Tez. So, I mean, what are your guys' thoughts on how these tribes shook out? We said 7-2 and 6-3. I mean, the only other time that I can recall where it was so lopsided in terms of numbers was David and Luke in Champions versus Contenders 2. They swapped 7-2 as well. So,
I mean, the obvious note is that there's some work to do with some people on the bottom, right? Like Ben, Blanche, or whatever, and Brooke. Never consider her name right. Blanchet. They have work to do, obviously. And then you got Richard and Lyndall. They got some work to do. And I mean, Lyndall for that tribe, I like how she immediately is like, I'm so excited. I'm ready to be on this tribe, because she low key was like feeling on the bottom anyway. So she doesn't care. Like, she's ready to throw people under the bus and go. So, I mean, it's fun to see the different perspectives. Because then you got Richard, who's probably shaking in his boots like shit.
Yeah, I was a little shocked that, like, we'll get to it. Obviously, I was a little shocked, like, how some of the original tribes are turning on each other, and then immediately they'll come back together and see like someone like Lyndall as this massive threat, when I don't really think she was that big of a threat that they needed to take out. But I mean, I guess just kind of fell on that wrong side of the numbers, obviously. So
I think it's weird with a swap. If you're going to swap into a minority, I sometimes feel like the less numbers you have in your minority, the better for you. Like if you swap into like a 5-4 and you're in a 4 minority, it's more incentivized for the original tribe to stay together, and because the numbers are so tight. I'd rather swap into a 2 where it's like, we're no threat to anyone, and if there's cracks in this tribe, like you've got 2 votes right here that you can pick up and do pretty much anything that you want to do. And it is an interesting week in that they kind of go down that path and then they revert back. So it's like they seem to change their mind on what they want to do with these bottom players. What else they have? I don't know if this was a moment of strategy from Jackson or just that he's a nice guy, but he wins the meat pie and he splits it with Ben to build a bond with him, and it's like a nice moment. And in my mind, the game bot guy was like, "Oh, this is perfect. You're building a connection with Ben on the bottom." Like, oh, good stuff. But I actually think it's probably more likely that Jackson's just a nice guy and he's just wanting to share his pie with Ben.
yeah,
Honestly, I think it was a genuine, jester.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I just want him to, be fed a little bit. He's a big guy. Like, we can relate. So, yeah, I agree.
yeah. I was really liking Jackson's moments that we got this week. I'm sure we'll get to them, because I feel like it was a really fun thing for him to be like defending Harry's honor, as we'll get to.
Oh, we'll get there.
Yeah, we would get
I
there.
think with Jackson, the perception we had from the first 2 weeks was like completely different this week, because you can almost like see that he was just so stressed on that tribe. Like, and now he's a little less stressed because he has newer faces that he's actually feeling trust with.
Yeah, agreed. Only other thing I have before the immunity challenge is that Mark seems to be well connected while Brooke is a target. I mean, kind of the dichotomy between the two of them, and Simon just seems to be like kind of a number for other people. But I think that's really a really fun thing for all the returnees to be in like different positions.
Simon's kind of just a number for anyone. Like, I don't feel like Simon wants to hitch his wagon too strongly. I think we'll get into that. Why he ends up doing the fire making. I feel like I know exactly why later on, but like he just wants to not really draw the lines in the sand super obviously at this point, which I think is a fair thing for a player like Simon at this point. Yeah, Asher gunning for Brooke immediately is like not great for Brooke, especially after she just played that idol that was going to expire anyway. We're going to get into the more drama of the idol
Yes.
in this episode. Is this? Oh no, it's the next one where Lyndall goes
yeah.
out. We'll get into it then. One last thing as well. This is where the three wise women come together.
Yes.
Which
Okay, yeah.
I'm going to say, I'm loving the three wise women. We had the coven, and these three really do hold so much power in this tribe. And like Mark thinking he's kind of running things, where in reality, I don't think from what we've seen that Mark realizes how locked in those girls are with Sally. He keeps kind of floating Sally like, hey, I don't think we should bring Sally in. I don't think Sally's part of this plan. And they're like, hey, we like Sally more than we like you right now, dude. What are you doing?
Yeah, the three wise women is interesting because comparing to the coven, I mean, I think the coven failed because you had women with very different personalities that just ended up not gelling eventually. And this is like, I feel like these women are probably a little more similar than how the coven was to each other.
In a group of three, it's much more easy to find three people that you have something in common with game-wise than like a group of 5 or 6, where it's like you're obviously going to have differences of opinion in that group. Like a group of 3 is like super dangerous in Survivor.
Right.
Yeah. I feel like these three are like same level of chaotic. Like you can kind of tell that they all want to play spicy. So like they're going to do well together in like strategy talks. Like his Faith is just out there ready to just gun ho. She doesn't give a shit. You got Keely's ready. She's like very calm and collected, but then bam, she's ready to go. But yeah, I think the one thing with Mark is I think he knows that Sally's like on the bottom of his like radar. Like he wants her gone because obviously they're probably not strategizing at all. And I mean, they even talk about a little later in a different episode, like, oh, he's like a jealous boyfriend. Like you can kind of tell, like, yeah, you can tell he's kind of like shit. Like she probably needs to go at some point.
We then get the immunity challenge, and Dawn almost single-handedly brings the bounty tribe back, but Baron still ends up winning. Jackson still ends up pulling it out. Yeah, I mean, it's another classic challenge of smashing targets with coconuts.
This is also, I mean, this is the moment where Caleb comes in and decides that he's going to put the Dirty Harry confidence stick in his mouth and he's going to be Dirty Harry.
Yes, and the clothes of the deceased, yes.
You know what's funny? It's amazing how you can get away with something if you're charming or if you're like likable. So like Luke did this stuff all the time. Like
yes,
I don't have a problem with it. Yeah, I don't have a problem, and loads of people do it. There's going to be loads of clothes stealing in this week. This is the clothes stealing week. But there's something different about like just wearing someone's clothes that have been left to kind of like rocking up to the beach and putting the stick in and like wearing the carcass of Harry. And especially because he had nothing to do with Harry going home.
Right.
Like he had nothing to do with it. That plan was in motion. He turned up like a Chaos Gremlin to the tribal council. He didn't even vote for Harry. He just voted for who he was told. He was like a stray vote on Jackson just in case.
Yeah.
And now he's there being like, I'm Dirty Harry. You're not him. You'll never be him.
Yeah, that very much annoyed me.
No, seriously, like it is weird. Like Caleb is just a chaotic little gremlin. I swear to God, he doesn't care. He's screaming at the top of his lungs, cackling like a weirdo. Like, dude's a little unhinged. I don't know.
Yeah, I wanted to like Caleb at the beginning, but now I'm just like, I just get really annoyed by him doing that and him thinking his resume, as he says, like that he needs to build his resume and on like day 15 or whatever it is. Like, dude, it's a 45-day game. I think you building your resume is not going to work probably this early in the game, because you're going to get caught.
Well, see, I love him. Like, I love him as a villain. Like, I don't think he's an amazing player, but I'm very glad he's there, because he is pure chaos. And yeah, I think he's a lot of fun, even if I'm like, don't disrespect my Harry like that. But like, it's fun.
You want characters, like, as a viewer. I mean, like, last season we had freaking Miles, and that was like fun as hell to watch him just be an absolute like chaotic mess at tribals, and it was fun. Like, I can't wait to see Caleb. Like, I feel like we haven't seen a ton of him at tribals, but I bet he's gonna be like wild. Like, I can't wait to see more of it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put a theory out there. I'm gonna say Caleb almost unanimous first merge boot.
I think that's probably accurate for what they're setting up.
100% see that.
Yeah. So then before the Bounty Tribes Tribal Council, Faith and Keely want to target Tez to weaken Mark. So again, we get like this talk of weakening the returnee instead of actually taking them out, which it ended up working out to get Harry out, whatever. But it very well could have backfired. I think we've talked about it. It's like ridiculous to not just straight up take the shot at the returnee and instead like go after some, poor unsuspecting newbie who is just aligned with returnee.
It's tricky because Mark still obviously has a place in their game. I'm not so. This one doesn't bother me so much, but the next one, it gets to the point where it's like, okay, when are you going to take the shot? Because you are running out of time. But this was the first time, frustratingly, that I really liked Don. I was like, oh shit, like Don.
Yeah.
Don's playing well, because they come to the plan to Don, and he immediately tells Mark, and then you get this whole spiral that goes from there. And I was like, okay, Don's playing now. He's not just building the shelter. He's actually got some. And going into tribal council, Don's name still wasn't really the vote. This was it changed that tribal kind of deal.
Yeah, do you guys think it was because like they found out that he's like basically telling Mark everything, and so they switch it to him? Because that was a bit like confusing of like how it all of a sudden landed on Don.
I just think the girls wanted him gone for a while, and I think it finally just hit like, oh, let's just do it. We have like the opportunity, because I was gonna bring it up like a few minutes ago, but this is the reason why I'm so like, what the hell about this episode is because if you're wanting to weak Mark, why not get Caleb then? Because where Don is almost every time, whereas Caleb's just a goblin. He's just doing whatever the hell he wants. So like, I don't know. It's weird. Like, I don't know. I feel for Don, because like Michael said, I was finally, oh my God, Don's playing. This is gonna be so fun. Like, maybe he was just more seen as his servant than Caleb. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
I think that's what it was more so. Like, I definitely think they're like, he's so loyal to Mark. And like, even again fitting with Mark's storyline of like the ghosts of the past, that he got to swap last time, lost Viola. Like, it's the same exact thing, that they took out one of Mark's closest allies at the swap again.
This was also where I really started to like Rich, and he doesn't actually say it, but I feel like his face tells the story. So he gets told the Tez plan, and then it switches, and he gets told what was the following plan. It changes 3 times, maybe Tez to Caleb, and then at tribal council they tell him the votes changed and it's switched to Don, and Richard's face is just like, Jesus Christ. And that has to be the biggest red flag to me, that I think Rich is thinking, I can't work with these people long term. Because if your vote is this wishy-washy, like if your plan, he's happy to jump on any plan. He just wants him and Lyndall to get through the night. But if the vote is changing 3 times just on a dime, like what? I can't work with that. And Rich just looks frustrated as hell. That's wishy-washiness in Survivor, I think, is the biggest red flag of who you can and can't work with. I think Rich does see that.
And I'm just going to say, like, God, if you really wanted Sally gone, I feel like that tribal, you could have done it. Like, I feel like you could have just been like, Tez, do this, walk over there, you two, because you two want to work with me. Let's go. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I feel like Mark trusted it, that one going in there very hard and just got, it obviously blindsided Don, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like if he really was that nervous about Sally, he could have done it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that's episode 7. I mean, I guess the only other thing I had this episode, Tez and Caleb started bickering. So I mean, Tez is like bickering with everybody, I feel like.
The fact that those two just keep doing these episodes is funny to me because they should work together.
They
probably should, but they just don't.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna get into Tez's little arc here in these next 2 episodes because they like give him a backstory and everything for these 2 episodes. They even gave Tez his own like little theme tune as well. I noticed. I was like, it's like the Greek sounding theme tune, and I was like, my God, this is really funny, honestly.
Yeah, this was a bad 2-episode arc.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Yeah,
we're gonna get into it.
All right, well, let's get into it. Yeah, so Mark got hurt by a tribe swap again. He's very sad to get hurt by a tribe swap, but ends up working out because Keely, Faith, and Mark become the head office now. So I guess that alliance now forms off of like Mark getting losing one of his other allies. So I mean, I guess it works in a way.
For Keely and Faith, like I think Keely and Faith deserve a lot of credit for how much they're able to keep the 3 wise women under the radar. Like,
right.
Faith lies straight to Mark's face when she's like, we thought that the vote change would get down to you, and we didn't mean to leave you out. And it's like, no, you did, you absolutely did. But she's able to get Mark straight back on side, which is really good Survivor player. Like I think Faith, I don't know how. I feel like Faith is going to be one of those contentious players, but she's very like outspoken and confident, and I think she's playing a great game. Even if it might rub people up the wrong way, I think she's one of like the standouts, especially in this week.
Yeah. I mean, I think Mark genuinely wants to continue to work with the girls, regardless of Don. Maybe he has no choice in general, but it's always sounded like he wants to work with those 2, mostly Faith. And I mean, I think it's returned likewise because I think they would have went for Mark if they just didn't want to work with Mark 100%. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think there's like this could go long-term-ish. I mean, I could see it like Mark working with these girls. The head office, I like it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then a couple things. So Brooke finds a new idol right under Blanche's nose. So good on Brooke for just getting out there and getting it and not caring about what Blanche is doing. Especially because like Blanche has been like so vocal about throwing Brooke under the bus. So
I do like that Blanche is finally, haven't seen much of her as a player up to this point, and it's kind of basic from the bottom game player, like just throw the person that has the bigger target under the bus. Like that makes sense. It's not like super creative, but I think it's the right plan for her. I don't know if she has much control to do anything else, but unfortunately it comes at the expense of Brooke. But yeah, turns out Brooke's the idol, the truffle pig of the season. Like who knew? She's just finding them left and right.
Yeah, Austin, I'm sure you're excited to have your returning player pick get an idol.
So. Oh yeah, no, I was extremely excited, especially with Blanche. I'm glad that she found it without her without her knowing. Because I'll give her this. I definitely understand her wanting to flip on like Ben and Brooke because like she was another one on the bottom with Tez, with the original OG tribe. So like. She just wants to create, new bonds and, trying to rat out Ben and Brooke, whatever. I get it. But Brooke needed that idol, man. And like, she found it. Thank goodness. Like, at least this time, hopefully this one isn't like expiring at like some weird time, but yeah. Yeah, no, good on Brooke. She needed that.
Yeah. 100%. And then we get to right before the immunity challenge. Mark schemes with Richard in an attempt to throw the immunity challenge and to come in wearing Richard's clothes. So we get to more of the clothes of the deceased. Mark is wearing Richard's hat and blazer. And it's funny, like how most of the people on like the other tribe are like shocked and like actually like really upset at this. Like it's really funny.
On the clothes drama as well, I also Keely had a confessional talking about how she wants even more blindsides because she wants more clothes to add to her collection. So I gave her the nickname of General Grievous. Like she's now make a fine addition to my collection. So Keely is now General Grievous.
Love
Oh my
it.
god.
I must say, Rich sells this very well.
Mhm.
Like again, another point where I was like, I really like Rich. Like the way he looks at this challenge, where everyone's like, "Oh, poor Rich, they're wearing his clothes," and he's just like this, like slapped down dog. He's just, oh,
Yeah. Is this where Lottie or Asha, one of them, like actually believes that it's true because of how like good Rich's acting is?
Yeah.
So, and then then Richard goes to Asha and he and Simon, sorry, he goes to Simon and asks him to throw the challenge. It's Asha that like is wondering about like what was said here. So
I understand like a throw, like I get the premise of it, like, hey, we're outnumbered, we want to work, with like I want to work with my OG people, like save us. You guys have the upper hand, but like at the end of the day, man, you gotta like create the connections on the new tribe that you're on. Like if you're asking to throw and you get caught, like, hey, throw this for me, like that's horrible. Like you're gonna get voted out like
right.
pretty quick, like because you just look untrustworthy. You know what I mean? Like just like we seen it last season with AJ was way more vocal about it than this season right now. Like holy shit, I can't believe AJ got out of that. But like this isn't that bad of like throw. Well, at least next episode's a little more throwish, but at least for this episode it's like okay, I get it, but I don't know. I don't think I would ever throw it. Like I'm kind of in like Simon's thought because you can kind of tell like Simon doesn't want to throw anything. Like I'm kind of there. Like why throw?
Yeah, I think in a swap situation it makes a little more sense sometimes than like before the swap, but also like I never want to throw challenges either. I'm in that mindset of like I don't want to risk going home and most of the time throwing challenges backfires. So like but like sometimes it doesn't and it works very, very well. So it's a double-edged sword, but I can see both sides.
I was kind of confused about who knew about the plan with Rich because at first I thought it was just a Mark and Rich plan, but I don't think it was because then we also get like Keely seemed to know about it because then Keely misreads it that maybe Rich told them that going through I'm actually in a really good position. So if again it comes down to like what AJ, if it's a whole tribe decision that hey we can sell this and we don't have to go to tribal and we can keep us strong, like yeah, why not go for it. But if it's like one person taking action, like the Cuddle crew or like this small group being like, we're going to take control, don't throw. It never works out.
No, it's really going to backfire most of the time. We get the immunity challenge and it's the solve the puzzle, lift your game or lose your flame. And Baron ends up winning again. I mean, this poor bounty tribe, regardless of the swap, they've lost almost every challenge. Like,
You do get the quote of the season from David where he says Brooke and Jackson formed into a Megazord. We get some. Is that what Power Rangers? I think that's what that is.
I don't know, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Baron
very
wins.
Excited about winning too. He's like, I'm smart, or whatever the hell he was saying at the end. I got brains. I can I can spell. That's what he said. I'm like,
Simon's so excited by being able to spell in all these challenges.
He's like a child. He cracks me the fuck up. He's like, yeah, I can spell, and everyone's lifting him up like a fucking winner. I'm like, oh my god.
He's a lovable himbo. So all right, so we get back to camp, and so Lyndall becomes the target. Richard and Lyndall think it's Caleb and Tez, but this is where Tez decides to try to kick his game into gear. And I just want to say I feel bad for Tez because I don't think he was ever getting accepted in any of the conversations. However, I don't think he does great things here either. So he throws Faith's name out to Richard and Lyndall, and then he goes back to Faith and tells her that he threw her name out, which is a really bad decision on Tez's part.
I think he was just anxious because he thought they might, screw him over, so he wanted to do damage control immediately. I think there's a point where Tez was just scrambling and trying to throw shit, you know what I mean? Because obviously at that point when he threw out Faith's name, he probably felt a little pressured, like he was in the moment, like say something, like don't look weird. But I don't know why he didn't kind of just full throttle it and like just not do what he did with Faith, like because maybe Lyndall and Richard would have thought that route. Like I think they kind of were at one point. I think Richard, I don't know if it's that episode or the next, but Richard kind of walks up to Tez and's like, "Hey, I'm kind of actually considering this." Like, and Tez kind of like backs up a little bit on it. I'm like, Tez, just send it into gear. Like, try it. Screw it.
I think this is like such a clear sign of Survivor at its core is a social game. And without the social game, you can't even play the strategy game. You need to have some kind of social capital. And what's so sad about Tez here, because he's a big fan of the game, and it shows that the game of Survivor is impossible if you are just not included in anything.
Yeah.
Tez couldn't do anything. There was conversations going on. There was so many clips of Tez just by himself and people going over. He would even try and go in the chat, and people were like, "No, we're gonna go chat. I'll grab you later." And if you're just a player that nobody's gonna speak to, no one's gonna go to a plan with you, no one's gonna discuss strategy with you, you can't do anything. Literally, it's like I listened to something Harry said in a deep dive interview about his first season about Baden, where they had almost like forced Baden into a GOAT position where even though he was doing so much good stuff, the perception of him was that he's just being brought along by people so that it's really hard to shake. And it's interesting that you can do that to a player. Like, even if they're a good player, potentially, you can force that perception onto them by just excluding them from everything except what you want them to know and giving them absolutely no agency. So Tez had absolutely nothing he could do in this game because no one was willing to talk to him. And at that point, what do? You just sit around camp. He had like 3 conversations with Caleb. They don't even like each other. But he was the only person with respect to Caleb. Like, Caleb was the only one that was actually willing to speak to the kid.
Right.
Yeah.
Everyone else just like brushed him off. And at that point, what can you do?
I will say this, like this, since we're on the topic of Tez, I'll piggyback off you and kind of foreshadow into what happens. I think at this point, he probably like, if he's already exhausted all of his options, he knows he's kind of doomed. He knows it's, like no one wants to talk with him. If I was him at that point, I'd probably just think, fuck it. I'm just going to continue to be the ghost until merge. Like, kind of just tell me what I need, whatever, because I'm not a threat. I mean, he even says it in a confessional. He knows he's not really a threat right now because everyone just sees him as the little dude on the tribe that no one wants to strategize with or worry about. Like, just kind of let it go, because he goes rogue on this vote, obviously. Like, he doesn't do what he's supposed to do, which, in my opinion, I don't think Lyndall was even gonna be the vote. I think it was Richard, in my opinion, because it was supposed to be a 3-3, and then maybe it was Lyndall. I don't know. I don't remember, but I think it could have been Richard if he actually voted correctly. But that screws his entire game, in my opinion, right there when he does that, and then they just don't want to use him anymore. Because I think Caleb could have been, more on the chopping block than Tez if Tez just stays quiet and like doesn't. You know what I mean? But that's just my POV of what I see.
I think you hit the nail on the head, because Tez literally says in his voting confessional that he doesn't like being told what to do, so he votes Caleb instead of Richard. So
but just go with it, go with the flow, because all you got to do is get out of this situation. You kind of can, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. You just got to be a loyal number at this point if you're in this situation.
That's his only hope, because they're going to find out that like there is people willing to play with him. They're just not on the tribe that he's on. So if he just got to survive. And like what I loved about Tez and Richard here as well, like the comparison between the two of them, it is this episode where they have that conversation. I've just found it in my notes. But like in that conversation about Faith, where Richard's like, "Hey, I quite like your idea." And it shows that calmness of Rich of like, "Okay, like I'm willing to listen to you. What have you got?" And again, Tez just, in this blind panic. He just can't get out of his own way. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like it's almost that super fan thing of he knows he's not behaving in the most optimal way and he's not doing it, but he's just not equipped to deal with these kind of conversations in a natural way that gives anyone any kind of confidence of what he's going to do, to the point where he just loses everyone. It is sad. It's kind of a brutal episode.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, let's get to the vote out here.
Yeah.
And so Lyndall is voted out 3-2 to 2-1 over Richard, Caleb, and Tez. And throughout the episode, they'd still been flashing that she has an idol next to her name. So I'm like, okay, this is weird, because Brooke has just come out after last episode and said that it was expiring. So Lyndall's should also be expiring. And then they still make it seem like Lyndall legit had an idol, and they're trying to like cover up the fact that this was an expired idol. Like I get frustrated with Australian Survivor because I feel like they still don't know how to edit certain things. Like it, the argument is there that it's even better than like US Survivor, and I do think to a major extent it has been in so many ways, but then other ways it's just like I don't think it has been as great in the editing department, because they can't tell us like the accurate information of what is actually happening, and they'll under edit people more than I think some of the US seasons have done. So
I think one of three things has happened here. There's two options for Lyndall. Lyndall knows that her idol's expired. She's trying to use it as a bluff, and the edit has decided, let's just keep the audience thinking it's a real idol, just to add some drama to this pretty basic tribal council, which I don't agree with. I don't think the edit should be lying about the status of someone's idol.
Yeah.
Even though, there was a lot of shenanigans with Simon's idol as well. We didn't know what was going on with that for about 7 episodes. Or there is a possibility that Lyndall didn't realize what Brooke realized. I do think there's a possibility that Lyndall potentially did think she still had an idol. Didn't consider that, hey, this is expired, and maybe, was still giving these confessionals with the false assumption that she was still in possession of an idol, and then production can then use that and say, well, she's still talking like she has an idol, let's just lean into that because it makes it more interesting. So I think something like that's happened there, where either Lyndall's not known or they've kind of manipulated Lyndall's confessionals in order to make it more interesting. But it does muddy the waters, because there was no idol. That idol was expired. And just like Brooke, it kind of makes Lyndall look worse than she was as a player, because she didn't have an idol.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go with a complete different narrative on this idol thing, because I was seeing a lot of speculation on Twitter. I think someone confirmed it with either Brooke or Lyndall or someone, but I was seeing that production took the idol from her, and they still did this edit. And if that's true, that's way like weirder in my opinion, because why not let her bluff the idol or something? Like, it's in the game, she has it in her possession. If it got taken from her, that's fucked in my opinion. You should be able to use everything. Like, you have the paper, you have the like, that's a perfect bluff now. Like, and if she's feeling threatened at all, like, throw it around your neck. Now it's a weapon at tribal. Like, I think that yeah, like it's kind of screwy in my opinion if that route happened. Like, I don't know.
It seems like sort of game interference a little bit, honestly. Like, I feel like they want to drive whatever narrative they want to drive. I also just don't. I guess I'm confused as to why they made edit. The edit made Lyndall out to be this massive like part of the season, and I don't feel like it accurately portrayed what was actually happening, and she was just an outcast the whole time. And I think the only reason why they gave her an edit is because she did the idol switch with Brooke. And like, I guess that's probably the only thing. Because I mean, we've seen it in the past where they edit someone quite a bit because they have like a big personality, even though they're in early boot, or they do one thing in like the pre-merge that makes them stand out.
I would say personally, I have no issue with that, and I much prefer edits that you're not able to predict. Like, I don't want a game where the players that are edited are the ones that are going to make it to final 6, 7, 8, whatever. Like, tell the story you want to tell, and make it like, I wasn't expecting Lyndall to go home because of the edit she had, but she did, and that was a surprise. Good. I hate that Survivor can be so predictable now, and I think at least with its like edit and failures or whatever, at least Australian Survivor can at least be more difficult to predict than US Survivor, where it's like, well, you know exactly what kind of edit this person's getting, and they're not going anywhere. At least they don't do that quite as often.
No, I kind of appreciate it too, because like you can absolutely tell Australian version versus US version have completely different aspects on how to edit their seasons, and like that's kind of why I continue to like Australian Survivor a lot, is because it's a little more like their niche, like their uniqueness. Like they do it one way, they like it pretty, like, you know, there's a few people they love to edit, and then you have the few that they don't, and maybe that's like the red flag I have with it. Like some certain people just get zero and basically cut out, but like, you know, I appreciate what they do, and I'm here for it at the end of the day. So
yeah, it's very, very interesting. I can see what you guys are saying, because I mean, like, what US has given, like, we'll just use Savannah from 49. Like, it was so obvious, not just because of the spoilers for 49, but just like in general from the beginning. You know, you literally have a winner confessional of her being like, "This is the easiest million I'm going to make," and it's like, it's so obvious Savannah's probably winning the game. So
I have no idea, absolutely no idea who's going to win this season.
yeah,
I couldn't even begin to guess.
yeah,
And
I don't know either. So I do see it from that point.
I like the context of the edit developing as the show goes on, rather than this is our winner, let's highlight them in episode 1 and all the way through. Like, our winner could be, they're going to come more into the story when it becomes more relevant. And I think that's a more interesting way to tell the story, because these characters were important to the beginning of the story. That doesn't mean that they're not worth talking about, but they're just, it's the first chapter, the first act. I feel like it edits the show in acts rather than as a full story, and to me that I much prefer that. Can we also mention Mark's comment here before we move on to the next episode? Because this is where we get Mark, after whispering the name to Tez goes crazy and just whispering Tez is useless, and it's like, oh man, it's brutal.
Yeah,
that's why I think the vote was most likely a Richard, because I think like they were really wanting it to just be a split in case of an idol, and then like, because if Lyndall did have an idol and did play it there, I mean Caleb ties with Richard there and they go to a revote. Like, I don't know, like I think they were definitely expecting Tez to be on board, and then he just doesn't, which I get it. If you don't want to be told what to do, good on you, but like you're not in a position to kind of look good after doing that, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I feel bad for Tez again. Like, I think that he got a bit of a raw deal at certain points, but I'm not saying like he was perfect. He absolutely made a ton of mistakes to get him there. So
a
ton.
But I just feel
he's gonna make some more.
Yeah, he's going to make some more here. All right, so yeah, as we talked about, Tez tries to make himself out to be a weaker player in his boot episode here. We also get Keely wanting to take out Mark, but Faith says not yet. So absolutely, they're both thinking about when they want to take out Mark. And I feel like that is a clue in the edit, I will say, for when they are going to take the shot at Mark. So I assume we'll get eventually like that moment of they'll be like, okay, this is the round.
To be honest, if I'm those two, no, don't do it now. I mean, if it was way earlier in the season, I get it. Like if you want to because you think Mark's this mastermind, yeah, but if you're going into merge with someone that wants to be on your side, like pretty much 100%, like you ride that wave as long as possible now, because you can just get rid of Mark later.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think this was their shot.
Really?
I think maybe they'll go to another one. Maybe they can, but this is with the numbers now. With Tez, Caleb, they're not working together. You got Rich by himself who's willing to do anything. I think they had to take out Mark here, because if Mark gets to emerge, he's going to have, it's not just the returnees, it's who each returnee has in their gravitational pull. So if he gets back with Brooke, he's already working with her. She's now got some new allies with Simon, who Simon got working around him. Mark's very capable of pulling in an alliance. Like, they might not be able to get those numbers again. And 3 returnees with each of their own people around them to pull in a group together is hugely worrying if I'm a first-time player out there. So if they're going to take the shot, this was the vote to take it. Because coming out of that tribal, there's going to be a lot of questions, obviously, but the group now with Keely, Sally, and Faith, it's in their complete control. No one can really do anything about them. You have 3 individual guys that don't want to work together. They're not going to go to rocks for each other if they do have to go back to tribal. I feel like this would have been a really good opportunity for them to take out Mark and really solidify control.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe I'm looking a little too far in. Mark comes
I mean,
off
who
as
knows,
a very,
yeah.
maybe I just see Mark as such a loyal guy, like with these 2 girls, and I really think like he would go to town for them and merge. Like if he thinks Faith or Keely's gonna go home, I have like, I don't know, at least from what I feel like Mark as a player is, like he would stick by them and try to, get them as far as possible with him. And why not go with it? Like if you already have Sally too, like why not? I don't know. But I see what you're saying, because like if you can get rid of him now, why not? Like do it. But I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's a bit early to take the shot myself, but I do see the good aspects of maybe trying to get Mark out sooner rather than
maybe
later.
That's like the big trick question of Survivor too. You know what I mean? Like, do you ride with someone that's this capable, or do you take them out and then take the chance of your own new relationships? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think so. Actually, this has just occurred to me as well. Like they have Caleb on their tribe. If
True.
those girls go to Caleb and say, "Do you want to make a big move? Do you want to get a second returning player out of this season?" And he jumps on board with the Mark Ford like 100%, and then they have Caleb in place.
His
Where it's
crazy
like,
laughter.
okay, yeah, like I just don't see much of a downside from it. Whereas I do think they're starting to. Mark's not an idiot. Like he's a smart player. He's gonna start putting together how low on the priority he really is within that group. And when he has more options, he's gonna start looking around. I think they should have taken it personally.
Yeah. Yeah. Other thing that happens before the immunity challenge is Jackson wants to make a move, so he creates a new alliance with Simon, Brooke, Ben, and Laws, Beauty and the Beasts, targeting Asha. So
such a fun
I love
alliance.
this alliance. I'm very excited because I think it's setting something up to go into this next week. They're gonna make a move, so I love this.
This is kind of like a Blue Balls episode where all the interesting stuff was going on in this Beauty and the Beast tribe, where it's like, are they going to go for Brooke? Could Brooke play an idol? Is they going to go with the Beauty and the Beast? Could there be a blind side there? And then that tribe doesn't end up going to tribal. It's like, oh, that would have been so much fun. Damn it. But yeah, I love that any alliance that comes together in the dead of night and gives themselves a name, I feel like is more solid than any other alliance. That is the time to make an alliance, and they've named it, so I'm all on board.
Oh, I
and it saves Brooke and Simon, so yeah.
100% love this alliance, and I so agree with you, because I almost feel like the bounty tribe's like boring compared to this Baron tribe. I'm like, please go to tribal. I want to freaking see you guys go off, because I feel like there's so much that's waiting to get unpacked with that tribe. Like I'm like dying.
Yeah, we've seen the bounty tribe just go over and over and over again. So
they're just going down the numbers. Like it's working well for the people in control, but yeah, it's not like super exciting TV, and they're just sniping off the lowest hanging fruit. But I am very excited about. I want all 3 of the wise women and Mark to make merge, because I think that plus everything that's going on that other tribe right now is going to be so interesting. I think this. How many numbers are we at now?
We're at 15, right? Yeah.
Like after this episode.
Oh, yeah, 15 people.
Yep.
It's 9-6.
So they could merge like next week, because usually Australian merges are quite big, so the merge must be imminent.
because Titans versus Rebels had 14, so like that was the
Yeah.
most in any season of any Survivor. So they could absolutely merge after one more vote off.
I think my prediction right now is that they merge after 2 more votes, and then the first merge is not jury, and then I think they start jury. I think that's what I'm leaning on.
It's probably accurate. I'm also interested because we still haven't had a non-elimination yet. We will get to this.
Oh, fuck, that's true. Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah, I think they're done, honestly, which is probably the biggest thing. If like David went to like production is like, hey, we got to change this. I don't know, maybe
don't say it too quick.
Well, yeah, well, I definitely thought we were getting that with this twist, but we didn't, and we got actual elimination still. So we'll talk about that right now. So the immunity challenge, a member of each tribe is going to be paired up. They have to hold the ball in a chute. And both tribes are going to go to tribal council and both vote somebody out, or both put somebody in, as we'll find out, both put somebody into fire, and then the losing tribe of fire votes somebody out. So what happened in Australia versus the world. But Simon and Faith end up winning the immunity challenge. And the other thing that happens is Tez is talking to Asha and Lottie and like saying like he will 100% flip on his tribe to vote with them because they think that both tribes are going to go together and vote someone out. So
I really liked this challenge. The reason why I think we could get a non-elim or some type of redemption thing later in the season is someone like says already we just went to tribal yesterday or something like that. Someone like quickly says it in this episode. And it makes me think like they are kind of like flying through like the first half of this. Like what are they on day 19 or something like that?
Yeah, this is
day 18 and
Tez was just voted
out. Like I don't know. I feel like they could throw something in later, but with this tribe or this challenge, freaking loved it because like I don't really see something like this happen very often, if not ever. Like it's fun. Like you get the you get the talk. It kind of like this type of challenge loops in everyone's aspect because some people don't like challenges, some people love challenges. You get the both of both worlds in this. You get the talk, you get the endurance, you get everything. So I liked it.
Yeah, exactly. So this was my favorite challenge of the season. Like I can't remember any other challenge where you were in teams from opposing tribes. Like it wasn't you're in a team with someone from your tribe, and it led to so much good strategy talk.
Yeah.
So like for someone like me, like you say, that isn't too bothered about the challenges. This was an exciting challenge because I was like Mark. Was it where Mark was like, I'm not really paying attention. I'm just too busy chatting to this guy, whoever he was with. Where it's like, yeah, there was so much good conversation there of like learning information that was going on the other tribe, which leads to this huge kind of double tribal where everyone's there. So I think this challenge especially spiced up how like the dynamics on both tribes and what was going to happen.
Yeah, I agree. I liked this challenge. I liked the twist that happened. I think it made everything more exciting, even though we got like a pretty predictable boot, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
I mentioned Simon's flappy arms as well. The moment where like they were doing a strategy where one of them held it and the other one kind of just like, and he was just there going like this. It kind of reminded me of Lockie doing his charades from like seasons ago.
Yeah. Eons ago. Yeah. All right. So Simon and Faith win. We get back to camp and Simon's worried about the twist, understandably so. I think this is great to have Simon like thinking about it, and like he wants to compromise with voting Blanche out first because he doesn't want to make this big move and potentially have Asha stay in the game through a non-elimination or something. And I think like this is such good thinking from Simon because we've literally seen twists like these will be non-eliminations in most other seasons. I mean, Simon literally has gone through this in, both Brains versus Brawn and Heroes versus Villains. So
Simon's like on God tier this episode. Like he is so aware of what the fuck's going on because he's talking to Jackson in this episode, and Jackson's like not, he's not thinking Aisha right here, and Simon's like, dude, we have like, you do know that she's the one leading everything, right? like it's not Lottie. It's mostly her. Like, and Jackson's like, what? And, like Simon's just very on top of it right now, and he's playing the dumb card out there, but like you can just tell he's very like at this point in the game right now, he's like kind of locked in. He knows what's going on in this tribe.
I hate to be the voice of dissension, but like I was not on board with Simon in this portion of the game.
That's
like
funny.
It's a tricky thing where I get him being concerned about a non-elimination, but if you take out Blanche, like you're still showing your hand. It's still a flip.
Right.
Like I think just take the shot. Like fuck it. What's the worst that could happen? She goes somewhere else. You're still in control. But also, this was where you got all that stuff with Simon, where Simon asks Jackson to go for a chat with them before he talks to anyone else, and the entire tribe is like, "Well, that was weird." And then Asher like comes to Simon and says like, "What was that about?" And Simon, it was like another get your face better moment from Simon, where he's like, I was just thinking like." It was just like, oh no, it's happening again, Simon.
Yeah, where like Lottie's like Simon doesn't like can't like lie very well or anything. Like
I feel like this is so on brand for him though, and he's doing like he's doing so much better on brand right now. It's like hilarious. You're watching like a child run around there and just noticing everything. Goo goo gaga. Oh hey Jackson, come here with me real quick in front of everyone. It's really funny. Like I really appreciate him.
Yeah, Simon's still just so fun, like, and I love just like regardless if he's not handling everything the best way, just like the fact that he's still trying things at least is fun. Nobody's talking to Tez, and he becomes the target with the split on Richard, and we are gonna get to tribal, and this is where Jackson and Caleb argue, and Jackson is defending our boy Harry and being like, you know what, it's really disrespectful for you to come in dressed as Harry and like think that you're the one who, you know, masterminded his demise.
I really like that Jackson as well really makes it apparent to the other returning players what Caleb's plan is.
Right.
It's like it's not just about the Harry thing. He says like, you know, he came into our tribal. He's like, we've got to get all the returning players out. At that point, it's not about Harry anymore. He's speaking to the remaining three. Like, this guy wants you all gone, so maybe do something about that.
Yeah, I don't have too much on that. I mean, again, I said it a little earlier, but Jackson, you can tell Jackson's like a little more comfortable, a little more aware, more in the game now. And like I said it on a different episode when we were talking, I could see him making a deep run. Like I like him as a player right now.
Yeah, I really think Jackson's gonna have a deep run based on his edit, based on what, you know, what we're seeing him doing. Like I think Jackson's gonna go pretty far. All right, so then we end up going to fire, and so at first, like the Baron tribe does not want Simon to go, but he ends up going into fire against Mark. So returnee versus returnee. We get Mark trying the strategy that Sarah did last season, with like coddling the fire and then like swinging it around like a baby.
He said he's rocked it straight to sleep.
Yeah,
I was dying when he.
That was a good David quote for once, like in this season. So I was pretty happy that David's finally kind of nailing down some JLP-isms, without like being at JLP. Like it was his own thing.
He even says like something about being something daddy at the
Survivor daddy.
Yeah,
dude, he was killing me this episode. I won't lie.
He's getting better, slowly. But yeah, so they want Simon to throw it. Simon does not throw it. He wins for Baron, so Bounty's gonna continue to vote another person out. And this is where Simon makes his move. I said it in our chat, like this is literally Simon, like what happened to Sneaky Stevie in Heroes versus Villains, where Simon had the opportunity to prove his trust to Stevie and like give him his, like, well, we knew it was the cookie idol, but like give him safety in his mind, and prove his loyalty to Stevie. And in this case, finally, like people have been wanting him to give immunity to Richard, and he ends up like fulfilling that redemption and giving immunity to Richard. And I thought that was an amazing moment, and just like also crazy for Simon to do this.
And crazy for Faith to be like, no, you don't need to do that. I really love Cameron in this moment where Simon's again, like, he's like hesitating of like, oh, okay, well, like, why? And Cameron's just like, dude, why listening to her? Like,
Yeah.
who gives a damn? Do you know what I would have done if I was Simon in that moment? I would have really made a show that Faith is in control.
Yes.
I'd be like, oh, sorry,
Yeah.
are you the boss here? I didn't realize. Sorry, do I need to ask your permission before I give my immunity to someone on your tribe? I didn't realize you were in control here, Faith. I apologize. I'll ask the boss next time for permission. Really,
Head
really
office.
put that target on Faith's back as, hey, if you want to do something in this tribe, Faith has to pass up on it. So be sure you
I could
know
totally
that.
see Michael doing some shit like
I
that.
would love
Oh,
to see it.
100%. It was the first thing I thought of. That's exactly what I would have done.
No, but yeah, no, it was not weird the first time Faith did it, and then it got weird when he won it, and that like he won the fire making, and as they're leaving, he's giving it to, because it makes complete sense to give it now, like to someone, like, because you
Yes.
don't need it. Why the hell walk back with it? So he's literally a person that you played the game with earlier, and he's probably going home, so just give it, like he's gonna give it to him. Why be weird, Faith? Like, I don't know. That was a little weird. She was definitely being a little toxic and chaotic there.
Yeah, I agree. I think like this should absolutely show people what's going on over there, that Faith is kind of calling the shots. And I'm like, I think I would think that they're gonna pick up on it. I'd love to see like the show give us that in the edit, whether they will or not, or maybe it will get brought up later. But I do think that this is probably gonna be on people's minds. So.
You know what's funny is I was always under the impression that Keely's the mastermind of those two, but maybe it is Faith. I don't know. I always just thought Faith was the more louder one of the like those two. You know what I mean? So maybe it's making Faith look a little like the lead. You know what I mean? And it's maybe that's good on Keely's part of it is like what I'm thinking. In fact, good because she's sitting in the shadows of it.
Right. Agree. I
Keely's
think
in the best spot for sure. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. I just think she's doing a good job of pumping up Faith, making her feel like she's the boss.
Oh yeah.
And then Keely can make these strategic decisions. The only trepidation I have is if like they make a big move. I mean, I would think they would go for Faith or Mark over Keely, but at the same time, like it is worrying. Like maybe at some point they take the shot at Keely to weaken. Yeah.
To weaken people before you take the shot, apparently. That's the new meta, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think that's the evolution of Australian Survivor, because I think it's something that was kind of put into play in Titans versus Rebels with Ferris and Kirby, because they consistently like took shots at each other's alliances and like weakened each other so that they could work together. So I think it's a little bit different in this case, but I do think like that's something that affected the evolution of Australian Survivor itself.
I just don't like
get it.
Yeah, like I still think to this day that Final Four, like, why do you put in Jake's favorite guy? What's his name?
Ferris?
Yeah, Ferris's guy. What's his name? Jake?
Raymond.
Yeah, why do you put him, like, why do you vote on him? Why not vote Ferris? Like, you're weakening Ferris.
You want to weaken him.
Yeah, apparently got to weaken him at Final Four.
Like, I don't know, dude. Like, I totally don't get the meta, but I'm not.
Yeah, well, because like because that's another thing. It's like they decided to weaken him at Final Four and like risk going into the final immunity with Ferris instead of Raymond. It definitely didn't make sense for Mark, but
if they're going to do it, I do like it because it means that bigger players end up staying in the game for longer, so it's good for us as an audience.
Yeah.
If you're a player out there, I have no idea why you would want to do it. I don't think it makes any sense whatsoever, but hey, keeps the big players in, so keep doing it, I guess.
Yeah.
And we're going to lose Tez over someone like Mark, so I'll take it.
I think they're always just so scared, or like with twists and like advantages. You kind of at one point just got to rip it off and say whatever, you know.
Agreed. Yeah. You really do. So yeah, Tez is gonna go. You have Caleb being like, what's his confessional about? Being like, Tez, you need to stop like crying when it's raining or something. It was something along those lines.
I've already
Sorry.
made my comparison with of General Grievous. I also give Tez a nickname on his way out the door. Is that he's Ralph Wiggum. He's the
God.
Ralph Wiggum of Survivor. Like, you know that meme of like you can see
I'm in
the exact
danger.
moment his heart breaks. The moment he like stands up at Tribal and talks to Mark and Keely, or Mark and Faith, what some combination of that group. And he's like, maybe we should do Caleb, and they're just like, yeah, sure.
Sure.
And then they go sit back down, and he's left standing there like, oh, it's not gonna work.
So we have Ralph Wiggum, we have General Grievous. I don't know. This tribe is gonna be like the tribe of pop culture characters.
Yeah, it's like brand steel.
Oh my god.
All right, so now let's do our player of the episode. I'm gonna go with Simon. I mean, he just made a huge move here, and I think got some really great redemption. And the Beauty and the Beasts. I'm looking forward to this alliance. Hopefully, having a big part to play moving forward. So, what do you guys have? Who do you guys have?
Simon's fair. I'm giving it to Keely. I really liked her this episode. Like, it's sure she's not the flashy one with like Faith being more loud, but I think Keely's running that tribe, and just because they went to every tribal and to vote someone off, like she's the one that's actively working this week. So I'm giving her my player of the week.
Yeah, it's a really good pick. Michael?
I was in the exact same position. They went to 3 tribal councils, and to me, it's Faith and Keely. They're the people that ran all 3 votes. Big blindsided Mark managed to get him back on track. I can't really choose between them. I prefer Faith just because she's chaos and content, but I do think if I had to give it to someone, I have to give it to Keely because she's doing everything that Faith's doing, but without putting this big target on her back of being the leader, the dragon at the head of the alliance. So I think this was a perfect week for Keely, pretty much.
Yeah. Keely's a really good pick. All right, week 4 predictions. I mean, it looks like in the preview, we were getting an auction of some sort with like a twist, a sort of like little challenge within the auction. Looks like we could be gearing up for Asha getting overthrown, Mark getting blindsided eventually if they take the shot at him. I mean, what do you guys think is happening next week?
Honestly, I think we're finally seeing Baron go to tribal. At least once. Bounty could go again right after, but like I think they're doing at least 2 episodes before Emerge, and I think like they're gonna go to 1 at least. And I think Brooke plays her idol. I think they actually try to get rid of her. Maybe she doesn't need to, but I think she does. And it's gonna be like Cameron that goes home, or Aisha, or maybe they get rid of Blache there. Like, I don't know.
Blache.
That's just my one.
I want to point out that the game that they're about to play is broken the internet because they are doing Carrot in a Box. And I don't know if you guys know about Carrot in a Box, but all the comments, even Noonan from the previous season commented saying, I've got a carrot. And I was like, she's a UK panel show fan. There's a game on 8 out of 10 Cats Does Countdown where the late great Sean Locke plays a game called Carrot in the Box. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's a bluffing game where you each have 2 boxes. One has a carrot in it. It's weird and random, but it's hilarious. And that's what they're doing. They're doing Carrot in the Box. So apparently Survivor Australia production are a fan of British panel shows and great comedians like Sean Locke. So I'm excited to see how that works. If there's not a carrot in one of the boxes, they've really missed a trick. And if there is, I'm going to scream with joy.
Mm-hmm.
I do think we're on the road to merge. I wouldn't be surprised if we merge by the end of this week. Yeah, I think the whole drama of what's going on with the Beauty and the Beasts, and the other alliance on the other side there is going to come to fruition. And I don't see Brooke going. Like, Brooke's not stupid. She'll play an idol if she goes to tribal. She's been in there long enough to know she's definitely at the bottom of that group. So she's going to play it no matter what. And it's just who kind of hops it in the firing line for that. Or maybe they prepare for it and they get like a Simon. Maybe they push Brooke so hard and they actually vote Simon. That would be crazy.
Oh my. If Simon goes, then I literally probably have no chance of winning this draft because I feel like he's the only one with win equity on my team.
Poor Jay.
So Yeah, I mean these drafts right now are not exactly going in my favor, but yeah, with that is week 3 of Australian Survivor Redemption. If you want to see more from us, like, share, comment, subscribe, because you want to see us talk about all of our Survivor content, Lost, Marvel, Pokemon, bunch of stuff. So yeah, with that, we will see you all next time for more Australian Survivor on the Tribe of Nerds.